What did somebody say that made you think, this person is out of touch with reality? Had a coworker that noticed an item's tag said Made in Vietnam. She said, Made in Vietnam? That's a place? I thought it was a war. Quote. Went to a super rich girl's house. She had had a baby 2 months prior. She had nannies coming in and out, maids and a literal house manager plus pa, etc. And she was bragging about how she was back at work so soon and how she doesn't know how people can stand doing nothing for so long. Edit. Many have been curious what she does for a living. I believe she comes from wealth but has married into a family that is literally an international household name. We're talking billions, not millions. She's was working on her own startup at the time of this event. Thanks for the upvotes and the cake. I wasn't expecting this to get this much attention. Showed a parent the security footage of her 8th grader hitting a teacher. She claimed the footage had been edited. Sigh. I was involved in a nonprofit for women in my last city maybe 2 years back. My ex, we were 27 at the time, was from a rich area of the state. And the mean income for this area was $31,000. A teacher talked about how 500 plus kids in her school were homeless. Abs how seniors would pool their money together to get a hotel for days or weeks at a time. I remember telling my ex about it. And how awful that's gotta be to be 17 and living with 10 others in a hotel. He said, they're stupid. If they had any brains, they'd buy a house so they could get equity. The hotel is just them throwing their money away and not getting anything from it. He was 100% stuck that these 17-year-olds, with no addresses, who are minors, can apply and qualify for a mortgage. I fussed at him and don't regret it. Because he is so out of touch with reality. Eventually he went on months later to say he talks down about other people and acts like he's better than everyone because he is better than everyone. Steven, you're a dick. Edit to add. To clarify, he suggested the high schoolers should all buy a house. Not my organization. Nobody has ever died from rationing their insulin. Nobody, my Phil. That was an odd take of his. I'm still kinda puzzled over it. People have died doing almost anything. He didn't think they died from rationing something that costs hundreds of dollars per week though. Former roommate declared, I'm an only child. That means I don't have to be nice if I don't want to. There are a lot of older fugly apartment buildings near the house I grew up in. My friend at the time that lived a very privileged lifestyle. $200 to $300 plus weekly weekend dinners with the family. Timeshares over the place. Skiing and snowboarding trips, etc. She was like, why would anyone want to live in these apartments? I would never. I was like, people that live there don't have a choice. I'm a nanny and I've worked for some rich clients. Old money. These people know nothing about reality. The best one I heard was this family I was working 12-hour days for. Good pay. Terrible schedule. At one point I was bouncing their baby on my knee and the mom goes, being a mom isn't that hard. I don't know why other women complain about it so much. While her nanny is literally caring for the baby. I heard someone yesterday suggest that children should operate heavy machinery to address supply shortages. Turns out that guy happened to be the frickin' Prime Minister. My old boss was railing on me for placing an order late and getting charged more after missing the early bird special, when I had been reminding her consistently for at least 2 months. Gradually increasing my urgency that she needed to make up her mind. She was yelling at me and then said, $dollar might not seem like a lot to you but it is to me. Quote, This coming from the person who set my wage, signed my checks, owned 4 substantial homes, had millions of dollars worth of artwork, designer everything, etc., while I was living in a 250 square foot garden studio apartment with my partner, which flooded when it rained longer than 2 days, making her hundreds of thousands of dollars from sales, with no commission. Wow. I didn't realize I needed that rant. When my boss said, "My word is better than getting it in writing." I can think of several instances where they've promised something or given their word on only to later renege on the deal. Once got in an argument with a girl that people would rather die of starvation than eat something that's carcinogenic. I asked if she was seriously saying people would choose to starve to death over the course of a month and risk potentially developing cancer in a few years, and she said yes. I asked if she'd ever gone an entire day without eating before or knew what that felt like. She hadn't. My aunt is a bit into that. She's done really well for herself but has forgotten that not all of us are retired engineers who play the stock market for funsies part-time. She suggested Thanksgiving at my place one year, and I had to remind her that I lived in a 2-bedroom apartment and inviting around 15 people there wasn't going to work. Pretty much any time I see someone yelling at a Starbucks or other service employee, they come into a crowded shop, wave their big $5 bill around like a high roller, then yell at a 16-year-old for making their coffee incorrectly. Lame. If you find yourself to be one of the people yelling at service workers, fix your own problems before telling other people what to do. I'm entitled to my opinion, when presented with facts showing they were wrong. Some guy whose parents paid for his college tuition mentioned to a coworker who has $107,000 in student loans say he should be able to pay it off in 5 years. Coworker makes $23 an hour on 5 to 8s. NASA can land on the sun at nighttime. I've genuinely heard someone comment on a homeless person asking why they don't just get a home. A friend of mine in college was absolutely shocked when I and several other friends pulled out our childhood, hometown public library cards at dinner one night. She could not fathom that all of our families went to the library regularly when we were growing up, and that this is an extremely common experience for a lot of people. When I asked her what she did when she wanted to read books growing up, she said, "My family just bought them all." Sophomore year of high school. In my biology class, this one girl got into a conversation about what causes the winter season with the teacher. And she goes, "Winter happens because the sun turns cold. Right?" Honestly, I'm still having trouble processing that one. And it's been 8 years.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.